Have you ever noticed how some politicians and media personalities, especially those with a MAGA affiliation, talk about people on SNAP benefits? They often paint a picture of who they think is using these food assistance programs, and honestly, it got me wondering, is that picture accurate? The way they talk about it, you'd think it's some kind of fringe program for other people. So I decided to do what any curious person in 2025 does. I asked AI to break down the actual data for me. And what I found is beyond ironic. It completely flips the narrative on its head. So let's look at the numbers. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, helps over 40 million Americans put food on the table. That's a huge number of people. Now, who are these people? Let's dive into the demographics because this is where it gets really interesting. According to the latest data from the USDA, the largest single group of SNAP recipients is white Americans. They make up over 35% of all beneficiaries. That's more than 1/3 of everyone on the program. Let's break it down further. After white Americans, Black or African Americans account for about 26%. Hispanic or Latino individuals make up around 16%. Then you have Asian Americans at about 4% and Native Americans at just over 1%. Now, if you add up all the non-white groups together, you get a significant number, for sure. But here vests the kicker. The number of white people on SNAP is roughly equal to all the other racial and ethnic groups combined. The narrative that this is a program primarily for minorities, the data just doesn't support it. It's a program for Americans of all backgrounds who are struggling to make ends meet. And here's another piece of the puzzle that often gets ignored. Are these people citizens? The rhetoric sometimes implies they aren't. But again, the data tells a very different story. A staggering 89.4% of all SNAP recipients are U.S.-born citizens. So the idea that the program is being flooded by non-citizens is just plain false. We're talking about our neighbors, our fellow citizens born and raised right here in the United States. These are people who have worked, paid taxes, and are part of our communities. Now, for the part that I found truly mind-blowing, let's talk about politics. We often hear the strongest opposition to programs like SNAP coming from politicians in so-called red states. You know, the states that consistently vote for the party that wants to cut funding for these very programs. You would think that these states would have very few people using SNAP, right? Well, prepare for the irony. Many of the states with the highest rates of SNAP participation are, in fact, red states. States in the South and rural parts of the country often have higher poverty rates and, as a result, a greater need for food assistance. Think about states like Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, and West Virginia. These are deep red states, yet they consistently rank among the highest in the nation for the percentage of their population receiving SNAP benefits. So the very politicians who are loudest about cutting handouts are representing states where a huge number of their own constituents rely on this program to survive. The political rhetoric is completely disconnected from the reality on the ground for the people they represent. It's a classic case of voting against your own interests, often fueled by a misleading narrative about who is actually getting the help. So let's put it all together. The most common SNAP recipient is a white, U.S.-born citizen, and there's a very good chance they live in a state whose politicians are actively trying to gut the program that helps them feed their family. The narrative being pushed by MAGA politicians and pundits isn't just a little off. It's a complete distortion of reality. It is a political tool used to divide people by creating a false us versus them scenario. When in reality, economic hardship doesn't care about your race, your background, or how you vote. It affects everyone. So the next time you hear someone talking down about SNAP recipients, remember the facts. Remember that it's millions of our fellow Americans, from every walk of life in every part of this country, just trying to get by. The irony is staggering, and it's something we should all be talking about.